All right, so what I wanted to do today, before we hop into ActivePipe and start going over how to build newsletters, I wanted to do a couple of things. The first thing is I wanted to remind you guys of all of the amazing resources that you guys have at your fingertips as far as ActivePipe goes. So if you haven't bookmarked this already, please do. I will put it in the chat. It is activepipe.com, super simple, but go ahead and just bookmark that. There we go. And I forgot to mention, if you guys do have any questions or comments or anything that you guys need help with, if you don't mind putting that in the Q&A portion instead of the chat, just a little bit easier for me to keep track of so I can get to all of your questions. So please use the Q&A. I'll check the chat too, but I'd prefer if you did the Q&A. Awesome. So activepipe.com, there's a couple of resources here that I wanted to highlight. The first one is blogs. We are updating the blogs pretty much weekly now. We just came out with our special event campaigns. If you guys haven't heard about that, this would be a great place for you guys to get more information. So I wanted to highlight the blogs because there's some really good information for you all here. You also can subscribe to them so that they're just coming to you and you don't have to come and search for them. The other thing I wanted to highlight is webinars. So all of the webinars that we do are recorded and then they're placed on here in our webinar section. So we have a ton here that we've already done. If you guys ever have someone, new that needs training, or maybe you need a refresher, or you want some examples of what other people are doing with newsletters, this is a great resource for you to come and watch all of our previous This Month at ActivePipes. And like I said, there are a ton. And then you'll see at the top, you can also register for the upcoming ones, which you've already done because you're here today. The last thing I wanted to highlight was the knowledge base. So it seems to me a lot of my customers aren't even aware that we have this. So I wanted to just highlight it really quickly. If you guys ever have a question, concern, something that you need a refresher on how to use ActivePipe, you can just come here. The knowledge base is awesome. You just search what you're looking for, and then we normally have like step-by-step instructions. Sometimes there's videos, but there's just a lot of really good information here for you to understand how the platform works. So I just wanted to highlight it again. I put it in the chat, so if you guys want to, go ahead and bookmark that for future needs. All right, so you guys all came here today to learn how to build a beautiful holiday newsletter. I thought the best way to begin was actually show you a great example. This is one of my customers. I'm really proud of this newsletter. I think it's beautiful, and I wanted to show you because I think it really highlights the main things that you should be kind of thinking about including in a good holiday newsletter. So the first one is having, a consistent theme. I've seen several customers do a lot of holiday recipes or baking suggestions around the holidays, or maybe their favorite drink recipe. So that would be a great idea you would want to include into your newsletter. The other thing is, like, this is an actual event that's being hosted. So they're giving the information and details to invite their customers to that event. And then this one's really key. I think including local events where you are located and having that be very specific to your audience goes a long way. I've actually had an agent tell me that he stopped in the grocery stores by random people he didn't even know were on his email list, thanking him for the information that he sent about all of the upcoming events in that area. So I think this would be a really good idea to include in your holiday newsletter. So I wanted to highlight that. I see that we have a chat. Okay, the next section that we have, again, this is staying local. This brokerage happens to be doing something specific. So they're highlighting that they're doing the coat and toy drive. If you were doing something like that on your own, or if you just knew that there was a local toy and coat drive in the area, this would be something that you would want to include in the newsletter as well. They added a little thing about the history of Christmas trees. Again, just staying on theme with that. Having a nice little article goes a long way. And then again, information on what's going on locally for things that they can do around the holidays. And then lastly, it wouldn't be a real estate email if you didn't include any information about listings. So this one's highlighting a listing. It looks like there's a couple, and that's pretty much it. But you'll notice that they kept those to the bottom, and the bulk of this email is really about providing good content for their contacts. So with that said, I'm going to hop into our ActivePipe account. So I also have a couple of examples here. You'll see that it's very similar as far as the ideas go of things to include in your newsletter, thinking local. So I'll click on this. So in here, we've just pulled in a nice little graphic, a nice greeting that lets them know, holiday season. Hold on, I'll pause right now because I'm seeing that we have a couple of questions. Is this a particular template in order to get the text in those small blocks? I'm curious what small blocks you mean. Let's see. Maybe like this. So in this particular template, they've done, and you'll see that they've linked it out to everything. I wanted to highlight that too, to where the events are. In that particular template, I believe that they did a lot of this actually on Canva, and they actually just imported a bunch of images. I'm going to show you how to do the small blocks in here within ActivePipe. Hi, Deanna, I'm seeing your question. Did I miss something? Where do I create login info? Deanna, I'm gonna have to sidebar with you maybe after we kind of get through the content. Today's webinar is about creating holiday newsletters. I'm not gonna be able to get you your login info right this second, but I'm happy to help you kind of after we go through all of this. My apologies for any confusion. All right. So going back into building a holiday newsletter, I think there's a couple of key things here. One, you see here, like I showed you in the other one, there's a nice pretty greeting. The second thing is actually using our columns over here. So pulling in a nice message. Having the first name placeholder used is a great thing to make sure that you stay top of inbox, that you're not going to spam, that you're not going to junk. It really helps your deliverability, and it helps your contact feel like you're actually addressing them personally. So I would strongly recommend coming in here and pulling in a little column. What this is, and I'll show you how you can do that. Come over here, you find the text, you pull in the column to where you want it, and then you start your little greeting. You'll use a placeholder, first name, and then you can add your little message to them. So this is how you pull in greetings. You would use the column over here. This one over here, this is going to be an image. So what we did is pull in an image from this section. It's just one single image, pulled it to the top. We went here. I'm going to use this one as an example. And there you go. Nice little image in that's nice, that's greeting them. So the second section is what I was highlighting before, talking about what's going on locally, highlighting local events to your contacts so that they, can see, first of all, that you're being specific to them and where they live. So this one is the text and image right here, side by side. You'll grab it, you pull it in, and then you'll find those local things that are going on, and you'll just take an image of them and then add that right into your email. And then what's important, and I'm just going to continue to use our Merry and Bright one. But what's really cool here is that you actually have the ability to link that out. So when someone opens this email, not only are you giving them the information that they need, but you're now giving them where they need to go for the Mozart's Christmas Light Show or the Central Texas Food Bank. You'll see that in this one, we've had a little bit of different colors in the background to kind of splice it up. So the way that you would do that is by coming to the gear icon, settings, and then it's going to be the inset color and background color. So we'll go to the background color. We can make it a nice little, I don't know, I'll go with green. How about that? And Oh, it didn't stay. Done. Do that. And there you go. And if we had words on here, you would obviously need to change the words to show up. So that's how you pull in the panels. I'm going to use the Miriam Bright just so it looks a little bit nicer. But the key thing here, again, is going to be highlighting what's going on locally. So you will have to do a little bit of research. I know there's plenty of websites that have, all the local events. If you're in Austin, I know it's Do 512, and that kind of gives you a good idea of everything that's going on. And then I always think it's nice to have a little message from you. I've seen agents do a couple of different things here. They've the brokerage itself has a message for all of their agents. And you could do a nice little video if you have one, where you come in here and you pull in a video. If you guys are connected to YouTube or Vimeo, you'll be able to pull that right in. And boom, it's right into your email. I've also seen a lot of agents like to go and make it a little bit more personal. So they've added in an image of them and their family, the holiday greeting card, that kind of thing. Let's see. Can you bring your photo in? Yes, absolutely. Of course you can. So in order to bring photos in, you first need to drag in the image, then you'll click on the camera icon, and then you'll upload your image from your desktop or whatever it is. So yes, as long as you have it saved on your desktop, you can absolutely do that. What I do is I go online, take screenshots, whatever I need, and then it's saved on my desktop and I'll just add it in. I forgot to mention, so this right here, this is going to be a heading. So this is how you kind of like label what's going on underneath it. So if you have a heading, you'll go in, grab it, and then kind of thing. So that is a great way to make it, again, a little bit more personal with your greeting to them. The other thing, again, as I mentioned, you guys you're selling real estate. So having a little article about what to do during the holiday season, if you are trying to list or buy a home, to things to think about, that's absolutely something that's relevant that you can include in here. If you have a listing, I think that's a great idea as well. So I'll show you a couple of things. So for this one, it looks like there was just an article found online. And so what they've done is found that article, added a little image, and I'll show you exactly what this one. So this is right here. Add an image. I'll go with this one. And then a little synopsis, and then this, just to match what they've done here, what you'll do is you can actually add a button. So this right here is our button feature. Read more. Let me get a website. And then plop in where the website's located, and now you've got a little button. So this is how you do it when you're within a panel that's already pulled in and you want to add a button. Again, you can also center things. I think that's important to know. But if you wanted to have a button separate, I will show you how to do that as well. So you could have your article here, and then you could also just pull in a separate button down here in our page elements. Boom. Read more. And now you have a separate button. Okay. So those are some things that you can do. This one right here was a created panel. Another great thing that you guys can use is our smart feed section. So if you come down here at the very bottom, there is smart feed. And in order to pull an article, you'll need to click down here in the bottom right corner. But this is a great idea for, as I was mentioning before, like if you want to have share your favorite holiday recipe or your favorite drink recipe, that kind of thing. Or maybe you just want to give tips on, the holiday season, um, like for selling your home, that kind of thing. So in order to do that, you would just go and fetch your URL. And then it will pull all of that right in, and then you can select from there. Now it's pulled your article right nice and neat into the email. Wow, and this one is a very, very long article. It looks like they gave the whole thing, so be cautious of that. It seems this doesn't happen frequently, but just make sure that you double check this, because definitely worth deleting a lot of that information, so that when they open it, it doesn't look ridiculous on their phone. Let's see. That should be a little bit better. Something to note, since I'm doing this, it's always a really good idea, exactly for this reason, to come in here and preview your emails before you send it. So the first thing I would recommend is going to view preview. This is what it will look like if someone's opening it on their computer. As you can see, this messaging isn't a lot, but when they open it on their phone, that's a different story. So this down here can actually be quite lengthy. They can't even get the full picture and wording on one screen of their phone. So that's why I always recommend cutting things down, because the reality is a lot of people are opening emails on their phones. So with that, it's always good to be just cautious with the information and descriptions that you guys are giving, and making that a lot less. Okay, it looks like we have a couple more questions. Okay, so I think, will we be able to revisit this training session again when when I don't remember everything that you have shown me? Yes. So as I mentioned when I started the call, the recording is always going to be put on activepipe.com under webinars. So if you ever have, you want to recap, we have a bunch of, actually, we've already done a TMAP like this already, so it will be here for you, but this recording will be added later this week. So you'll be able to find it here. And then we had another question. Robin, I'm sorry I missed. How do you create that carousel of photos? Can you show that again? Yes, absolutely. So I'm thinking that you were talking about these 4 photos. So in order to do that, you just need to come in here. So this one, because it has the words underneath it, this one would actually be a text and image. I did this one, the side by side. So you come here, now you have this, and then this one is a panel of 4. So you're gonna add another one underneath it. And then the way that we have this all connected with the coloring and everything, that is done by going into the settings, background, and then you pick your padding color. And it highlights the back to kind of blend them together. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's one way to do it. Especially if you have the text. You could also do, I've seen, I personally love the way that this looks, and I've seen a lot of customers do this. You take the side by side, so you have the image and then you have the text over here, and then you want to add more information. I personally think it looks really cool when you go here, you go to settings and you swap the photos. So now you have the image on the right, text on the left. So you can do that as well. I think this looks really nice and neat. And you can just do all 4 like that. And the reason I typically prefer that is just because I think it looks really good when you go to view that on mobile. It has the image centered with the text right underneath it. So I think that looks really good. Still does that here, but I just prefer the way that that one looks. So hopefully that answers your question, Robin. I meant the one below that scrolls through several photos. Are you talking, I'm assuming maybe you're talking about this one. So if this is the one that you're talking about, So in order to add this, this is just like, I guess it's called a GIF or I'm sorry, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's a GIF, but in order to add this, it's actually just an image. So it's the same concept here. If you want to add this in, you'll use this, then you'll come here, you'll hopefully already have that type of image downloaded on your computer, and then you'll just upload it right here, and it uploads the exact same way as uploading a regular image. Let's see if I can, oh, here it is right here. So this is just something that had already been downloaded, and then you'll select it and it adds right in. Okay, Robin, thank you for confirming that it's called a GIF. I appreciate that. Okay, awesome. So just to recap, and the one thing I didn't highlight, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are already very well aware how to pull in properties, but I will highlight it for anyone that hasn't done that before. I think it's totally okay to highlight a couple of listings in your holiday email. It just really depends on what you're kind of trying to achieve. So in order to pull in a listing, you'll come over here to properties. If you want to use just one, it's going to be our feature listing. If you want to use several, you can do grid, list, or table. And then you can either just turn this on and set your parameters and have, maybe you only want to highlight your listing. So you'll say, I only want to include my listing here. Or if you're looking for a very specific listing that you would like to highlight to your contacts, you'll come down here, you'll click on the house, and then you'll find that property that you want to highlight. So I think it's totally acceptable to have a listing in your email. So that was essentially everything that I had to go over today. So I'm just going to do a real quick recap. The key things that I think are really important if you're crafting a good holiday newsletter is, first of all, a nice friendly greeting, letting them know it's a holiday season, and kind of, I guess, giving them insight to what's to come below everything here. Like kind of inferring that there's going to be, information for them locally. And then the next thing, I think it's always a great idea to go ahead and include a nice friendly holiday message. It's going to take you 2 to 3 minutes to write something just really sweet for this holiday season. Let them know that you care. And then the great thing is using this placeholder, adding in a first name. So again, it's one, more personal for them when they're reading it, and two, this really does help with deliverability for you guys to stay out of spam and junk. And then the next section is coming up with, a couple of local events that might be very interesting to them. The key things here are using that text and image grid, and then make sure that you guys use this link out. So if you have an event that's going on, link out to it. So not only are you giving them the information, but you're helping them get to where they need to go. The last couple of things are, a greeting from you, whether it's a video that's like a little, I don't know if you guys have ever seen those Elf Yourself. I think they're hilarious and adorable, and I have seen a couple of agents use those. That would be a great idea here, something really fun to give them a laugh during this holiday season. Or maybe you have a Christmas photo of your family that you want to include. Anything that you can do here to just make it personal, remind them that you're human and that you're thinking of them during the holiday season. And then the last couple of things, whether it's an article that you want to include that's relevant to the holidays. I've seen a lot of people really like to share their favorite holiday drink recipes, their favorite, food recipe, anything that you can do. I think an article could be really helpful during, during the holiday season if it's going to help them sell their home, that kind of thing. Recipes are obviously a little bit more fun. And then the last thing is, if you want to pull in a listing, absolutely do that. I just recommend having that at the bottom of your email. And that's pretty much it. Before you guys send it out, always make sure that you view it, and then you can send yourself a copy. Then you'll click save. And now you're ready to send to your contacts. And that's pretty much it. Do we have any questions? Happy to answer questions unrelated to building holiday newsletters as well. since we have plenty of time. So if anyone has any questions, concerns, let me know in the Q&A. And then again, if you haven't already, make sure to bookmark activepipe.com. This has some great information for you. Our knowledge base is here. Our blog is always being updated. And then again, if you ever want to find these recordings of our webinars, you will find them under resources, webinars, and we'll take you here. All right, if we don't have any questions, I guess I will just launch our final poll. And I hope everybody has a very merry holiday season and a good weekend because it's Friday. Yay! Hi, Deanna. So I did want to just stop and make sure that I'm helping you on the side once everybody else trickles off here.